What if Douma went to the Swordsmith village with Gyoko and Hantengu? Will the Swordsmith village arc look the same? Could Tanjiro, Nezuko, Genya, Mitsuri, and Muichiro even survive fighting Upper Moon 2? And will the show be significantly different if that happens? Well, you won't believe how different. The first part of the Swordsmith village won't be any different. Muzan will summon all the Upper Moons to a conversation about the death of Gyotaro, explaining to them that they need to work much harder from now on and that he shouldn't have treated them so nicely just because they're his upper ranks. What would change is the fact that Douma will summon the courage to ask Muzan to join with Gyoko and Hantengu when Muzan told them to go investigate Gyoko's information about the whereabouts of the Swordsmith village. Muzan will at first be pissed at Douma for speaking out of place, but then say, "Douma, go with them. I don't want any more mistakes this time." Knowing how strong Douma is, the course of events is going to shift massively. Nothing will change at the beginning of the Swordsmith village arc. Tanjiro will meet Mitsuri and Muichiro and will train with the Yoriichi Type 0. Then they'll meet Hantengu, and Muichiro will be blown away to the forest, and he'll meet Gyoko, and they'll fight. Gyoko would trap Muichiro in his water vase and go terrorize the village as usual. Douma, meanwhile, being the lazy guy he is, will take his time arriving to the village and eat some women along the way. Muichiro awakens his Demon Slayer mark and is able to kill Gyoko. And just as Gyoko's head falls to the floor and Muichiro is about to relax a bit, we see two yellow eyes sparkling from the woods. Muichiro senses that something's off, and as he's about to pass out, he moves Kotetsu from Douma's huge blood demon ice attack. We then see Muichiro. What's going on? Another upper rank? This is bad. I'm about to pass out any moment now. And then it hits him. He stands in the presence of upper rank 2. In a last effort to turn the tables, he tells his crow to rush over to the Ubuyashiki family house and tell all available Hashira to come ASAP, because if Douma is allowed to rampage in the village, none of them will survive. But let's pause for a second for a word from today's video sponsor, Sakura Co. If you're like me and you love Japanese culture and food, but you can't travel there anytime soon, Sakura Co is just for you. Sakura Co is a monthly authentic Japanese snack subscription box. Sakura Co is supporting local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including teas and a special Japanese tableware. With Sakura Co, you can enjoy original Japanese treats and actual Japanese tea from the comfort of your home. My personal favorite was the crunchy cinnamon snacks. I also gave a friend a taste and he liked it a lot. So if you're a Japan fan like me, you should head over to Sakura Co with the links in the description and use my code ANIMEHERO to get $5 off for your first box, as these boxes are a perfect way to experience Japan for yourself. Check the links below. Don't forget, the best way to support me is to support my sponsor, so you get to have amazing new treats each month and help me produce more of the videos you like. It's double the goodness. We go back to Tanjiro, Nezuko, Mitsuri, and Genya fighting Hantengu. The fight will be the same as the original fight. Tanjiro's blade is colored by Nezuko's blood, making it shine red. With this power, he's able to cut the heads of Hantengu's clones in a single move. Meanwhile, Genya is looking for the original body and isn't able to cut his head. Shortly after, Zohakuten appears, and Mitsuri fights him so Tanjiro and the others can go kill the original clone. But then a huge explosion from an ice figure hits the battlefield, knocking the Demon Slayers back and even destroying Zohakuten's wooden dragons. We see Zohakuten tell Douma that he went too far, and Douma says, "Sorry, Hantengu," with an evil smile on his face. We then see Tanjiro barely able to breathe and open his eyes to a horrifying sight. Douma is carrying Muichiro's dead body with him while munching on him. Confused, he tells himself, "Who is that? What happened?" And then he realizes he's in the presence of Upper Moon 2. He screams at Genya, Mitsuri, and Nezuko to stand up because Upper Moon 2 is here. And as he says it, Douma appears right in front of his face with his evil smile, grabbing Tanjiro by the neck while looking at his earrings and saying, "Ooh, this is the kid Muzan is so upset about." Then Nezuko, Mitsuri, and Genya all come together to help Tanjiro. Douma uses his blood demon art and blows them away, freezing a huge area, making all of them unable to breathe. But Nezuko uses her fire and melts the ice and burns Douma just in time to save Tanjiro. All of the remaining Demon Slayers and Nezuko are battling both Douma and Zohakuten. Then we hear Tanjiro screaming, "We don't need to beat them. Just keep them here until the sun rises. Let's win this." Mitsuri then awakens her Demon Slayer mark, but it's not enough. She loses her leg to one of Douma's attacks because no one can get close enough to him and because of his freezing attacks. We then see Hantengu and Douma attack and create a giant attack with their ice and wood attacks, and just in time to see Nezuko is able to burn some of the attack away and put herself in front of the blow, absorbing some of it. The next shot is of Tanjiro's horrified face, while he says to himself, "How can we battle two upper ranks at the same time?" we see Douma and Zohakuten walking towards the gang, and as they're about to land the final blow, all the Hashira come together behind them, surrounding the two upper ranks. We then see Gyomei saying to the Hashira, keep them here until the sun rises. If we can do this, Muzan will be left with only two upper ranks. Gyomei and Sanemi take on Douma together, while the rest of the Hashira all gang up on Zohakuten together with Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya, while Mitsuri is trying to stop the bleeding from her leg. Eventually, the sun rises and they're able to defeat both Douma and Zohakuten, and with minimal injuries, and Nezuko is able to conquer the sun. From here on, the events are similar. All the Hashira are resting and training before the big fight with Muzan. But the problem is that Kokushibo and Akaza are the only ones that are able to fight the Hashira properly. Zenitsu still defeats Kaigaku, but thanks to Douma not being around, Shinobu is still alive and can fight together with the Hashira. She actually joins Tanjiro and Giyu fighting Akaza, and they win with much less effort because Shinobu kept poisoning Akaza during the fight, making it much harder for him to regenerate. Thanks to this, Tanjiro, Giyu, and Shinobu are able to join the fight with Kokushibo and present Genya's death and win. One of the key factors of them winning the fight is when Kokushibo saw Tanjiro wearing his brother's earrings and using sun breathing. Kokushibo actually gave some information to Tanjiro, saying he's Yorichi's brother, and this made Tanjiro upset with Kokushibo because he could save a lot of lives with his talent, and yet he chose to join the demons just for power. The rest of the Sunrise Countdown arc is pretty much the same, but because the Demon Slayers are less injured and Shinobu is with them, they're able to use drugs and poison to make Muzan weaker sooner, a fact that made the battle a bit faster. The Demon Slayers have managed to successfully expose Muzan to the sun after a night-long battle until dawn. But the victory is Pyrrhic. Despite Muzan's death, more people are alive due to them being less tired from the previous fights. As his armor of flesh burns away, Muzan sees Tanjiro Kamado inside, having been enveloped with him during his attempt to save himself from the sunlight. Tanjiro is no longer breathing and his heart is stopped. Muzan remembers his past, having been close to death ever since he was born, and his only dream was to conquer the sun as a demon to live forever. Recalling the words of Kaguya Ubuyashiki of human thoughts being the only true immortal thing, Muzan tears up and accepts he could never achieve immortality. But instead of accepting its true meaning, he decides his thoughts are immortal, and instead of him, Tanjiro could be the one to carry out his will. He sees that despite his body's lack of movement, some of his cells remain alive. With the last of his power, he pumps all his blood into Tanjiro's body. And as he himself begins to disintegrate, he tells Tanjiro that he will become the strongest demon of all, having Nezuko's immortality to sunlight and unable to be killed due to being the only one able to perform sun breathing. As the last portions of Muzan's body disappear, he voices that he believes that Tanjiro will not die, and in his stead, he will kill the Demon Slayers. Upon becoming a demon, Tanjiro recovers from the poison that caused the growth on his face and regenerates his lost arm and eye. As Muzan predicted, Tanjiro shows resistance to sunlight when he faces off against Giyu. He goes to attack Inosuke, who saved Giyu only to be embraced by a panicking and saddened Nezuko. Nezuko tearfully begs her brother to stop so they can return back home. And Tanjiro manages to temporarily calm himself down after he unconsciously bites Nezuko's shoulder. However, as Inosuke lands several punches to Tanjiro in frustration, Tanjiro further evolves his demon form and grows bone appendages similar to Muzan's. Nezuko continues to beg Tanjiro not to lose himself to Muzan, but he continues to mindlessly attack the Demon Slayer Corps, swinging one of his bone appendages towards Zenitsu. Giyu saves Zenitsu and a few Kakushi using the water-breathing fourth form, striking Tide. Tanjiro begins generating an energy ball to direct towards the Demon Slayers. However, his attack is intercepted by Nezuko and severely damages her arm. A powerless Zenitsu cries out to Tanjiro, horrified at the thought of Nezuko dying by the hands of her brother. As Giyu and an onlooking Yushiro try to find a way to stop Tanjiro, Kanao arrives, bringing a vial of the medicine that could restore his humanity. With Shinobu's guidance, Kanao uses the flower-breathing final form, Equinoctial Vermilion Eye, on her left eye and approaches Tanjiro to eject him with the medicine, getting struck by one of Tanjiro's bone appendages in the process. In Tanjiro's mind, Muzan tries to convince him to let himself be consumed by the desire of becoming the ultimate being. Tanjiro vehemently refuses Muzan's offer, and several hands belonging to his loved ones, both deceased and alive, rise from the ground and through the wisteria flowers to push and reach out for him. Tanjiro accepts their grasps and is brought back to reality with his humanity restored. Muzan fades from Tanjiro's subconscious, finally defeated for good. If you enjoyed this video, please watch our 55 facts you didn't know about Demon Slayer.